Okay, I want to speak about learning languages, teaching languages, or absorbing, assimilating languages normally. And this is off on the spur of the moment video off the top of my head. As a speaker of three languages, learner of a fourth language, and I've been speaking also other languages, but I don't put them in my egg basket, so to speak. Um, so the strong claim I'm about to make here is that basically languages can't be taught. What the hell is that? What I mean, you can. I'm getting right to the point. I don't want you to keep on suspense. You can basically help other people acquire good habits. You can motivate them. You can help them because they know that they are going to pay something, or even not to pay, to meet somebody who is going to judge your improvement. And that can be for some people something that keep their steady them have a steady process of learning. You say, but if it's your goal, why should I need somebody to check? Shouldn't I be able to do on my own? Well, yes, but would you study so much to learn a university degree, a college degree, if you weren't aware of the fact that you would be judged? No. That doesn't mean that some people are able to do that, but at the beginning many people are not. Once they have achieved a certain level on a certain language, in a certain language, I wouldn't say learned, because you never end learning. Put that into your mouth. Never use it. I learned, I haven't learned English, but I am speaking English. I haven't heard the Italian. Yeah, more or less, I speak English and I speak Italian. But it's not something like, oh, I finished painting the wall. That's a fact. I've painted. It's painted. Nobody holds in their mind the whole bulk of a language. And what is the bulk of a language? What should we know? Because there are variations. Is it approved, not approved? So they say, once you have achieved a high level in a language, you are more confident. That's why, in fact, I'm learning Russian with a method, and I'm going to speak about that. And after almost 2 months, I still don't know basic words, but I'm confident. I follow the method. I will buy another upper method when I finish that, and we'll buy another beginner's method to fill the gaps of that method. I'm using Assimil. I find it very useful. Is it best? No. Is it best that I know of and that I can buy and I have recordings? Okay? So, basically teachers, language teachers, and I'm still here, I still am in a way. Language teachers, whether they are native speaker or not native speaker, I'm not much into that. But at the beginning, sometimes no native speakers are better language teachers if they grasp the language. You can learn. That's the whole purpose of learning a language, knowing that you can speak it fluently. There are people who went through the process, are more aware of things, and more able to explain in a conscious way because they acquired in a conscious way. They still remember the rule. Now they speak fluently. They don't need to retrieve the rule and before speaking, and that's another thing. You shouldn't. But there is a phase where you are conscious, aware of the language. You can still be conscious, aware when it comes to helping somebody else. There are something, but when you get somebody into the habit of knowing it's not a one-to-one, you need to get into the swing of things. It's a long process. I think different languages can have, in a way, different approaches, in spite of the fact there is a general approach to learning language learnings, to learn languages that works. First of all, this is everybody has their no. There are some processes that have kind of variations, okay, but if you want to train to get fast, you say, my approach is running 4 hours on Sunday, doing nothing during the week, and then I start running 4 hours next Sunday. It doesn't work. It's not your approach. It doesn't work. Do you get it? So some approaches, I prefer reading, I prefer exchanging messages. It does not work. And somebody has to tell those people loud and clear, it's your funeral, you want to go that path, along that path? Okay, do whatever you want. I don't want to be part of it. Are you learning ancient Greek, Latin, Sanskrit? Okay, there's nobody who can judge your pronunciation. You don't have to speak and listen to the news. In spite of the fact there can be radio programs in Latin. But anyway, let's dispense with that. But a modern or a spoken language or a language that you face, like you need to speak it because you can also speak Latin or ancient Greek. It's more strange, but it's easier to learn those languages like real languages. They are real languages, not languages that are still spoken nowadays, than the other way around. But the other way around works if your purpose is to just to translate. It works badly, but it is what it can do at most. So language teachers are in a conflict of interests. Why? Once I give somebody the tools to build his or her house, he's not going to call me to build that house. So basically, they want to instill you the need to constantly refer to you when something comes up. Well, they are like some psychiatrists or psychologists that are in a contradiction or interest. The moment you really healed that person, the person is not going to come to you, and you're losing that money. In an ideal world, people like this would be much paid much more than other people. Sometimes I think a sentence and I change would pay much, I get into a... What I want to say is, teachers should be paid according to their results. So they would be motivated to put you in the situation to have results. Second thing, and that is can be in contradiction, sometimes results takes time. So that money should be given in the long term, so you just sow the seed and expect the tree to grow. And there are some natural, physiological, we say in Italian, there is a time that we need. The first mistake is to expect big results in the short run. In the short run, you are just preparing the soil, you're watering the seed, there is a seedling, it takes time. And then there is a point that sometimes from some point on it grows and it grows and it grows more and more and more. That is what happens in language learning. Let's dispense with the fact that people are spoiled by the fact that they learn similar languages, and that when they bump into a wall because they're learning a completely, no language is completely different. I mean, there are some international words that are used even, but even European languages, Indo-European languages, if you don't know what an Indo-European language is, look it up in the web or in a book. But, so when they are confronted with a real problem, people are discouraged. Languages are difficult at the beginning, and are more difficult if you want to jump the gun, if you want to, and push forward when you're not ready. When you're ready to. So my understanding is most of the times teachers, even qualified teachers, are just teachers in a conflict of interests, out for blood, that means for money, and their purpose is giving you the impression that it's good value for money. You're not wasting your money. Sometimes people have the false impression they're learning, or some. I know you should make the time you spend together with a student pleasant, but pleasant that's conducive to learning, not pleasant that is conducive to wasting time. Some people are just a pain in the ass for the teacher. There are people, they are so set in the wrong ways of learning that didn't have good results, because many people have been learning English for years and years and they never understand the way it works, the way learning works, and they have really wrong expectation for the time they put into learning a language. I'll give you an example. I like Asimil. But when Asimil tells me that you can learn a lesson in half an hour, bullshit. If they told you the truth, they would say a common person that doesn't have a lot of time on his hand. It takes 2 years. Yes, it's 100 lessons. It takes 2 years, unless you already speak Belarusian or even Polish. You have a head start. For an Italian, a Greek person, a French person, not to say Japanese, it takes 2 years. A person who has a lot of time on his hands, 1 year. A person like me who wants to speak with a good accent, 1 year and a half. It means I really have the grounds, the basics of the language really good. So I will not move on and keep on mispronouncing things. Obviously, having some native speaker, not them, that make you, maybe, yes, we think we speak well, but we don't, I now and then have some languages change. I posted some videos and I will post other videos about languages change. Remember this: if people faced learning foreign languages in a good way, you wouldn't have people who tell me I've been learning Italian for 10 years and they speak broken Italian. One of the things I learned by those people with whom I try to have a language exchange, they say, yes, they obviously know Italian much more than they know Russian, part for the course. They've been exposed, so to speak, to the language for a long time. But the way they speak is so bad. They know many, many words, and sometimes they fail to say, they don't know how to say, I've been speaking Italian for 3 years. They say, I spoke Italian 3 years ago, which is something else. I spoke Italian for 3 years. That means in the past, up to that certain point of time, not from the past till now. And these are basic things, because they didn't follow a regular course. But you want to speak. Regular course can simulate what happens in real life. That's what Asimil does. It's not the verb. Yes, there is a point that they present you with the verbs and the grammar, but after the fact most of the time. So we don't have to they have this hurry to understand everything. Sometimes I listen to lessons. I listen to the audio part and I understand 10%. Never mind, I'll listen. When I will, and then I read, and I listen, and little by little, the lesson is absorbed. But it's not absorbed 100% when I start the new one. I start a new one, the other one is absorbed, like, say, 50%, the new one 10%. And then when the second one is absorbed 50%, since I've been reviewing the previous one, the one is 70%, and then I start a new one. It's a process. We don't learn, I should repeat, it doesn't work. The same day, 100 times the same word, you're going to forget it. And you have spent so much time in vain. You need to forget and repeat and be exposed in time and to forget until it becomes part of you. What I'm telling you is something most of people don't say, but it's the cold, hard truth. Language learning is a long process. If you know that, you enjoy every step of the way. It's like going on foot from Rome to Moscow. I think it takes less than for me to learn Russian. Um, Assuming I can. Nowadays I cannot. I completely stand with Russia. I'm telling you, I'm not. I make no bones about that. Do I like war? No, I don't. It's the last resort. It's the last resort. I would have blamed Russia if it stepped into war the day after somebody threw a missile into Donbass, not after 8 years and having tried everything. But that's on the side. I'm what I am. I know I'm alienating some viewers now. Give a shit. Reverting to language learning. It's a long process. You know that for you to go from A to B, and B is on the other side of the world, you need to work to for language you work to walk every day that amount of time for that distance. Once you know that, enough. Once I finish, I go and do other things. That's what I do with Russian. I'm not obsessed with language learning. I do my 2 hours in the afternoon when I listen to Russian while I'm doing something else. Something, not reading something else while I do cleaning or I don't know. I listen to it. Then I read at night. I spend more reading, reviewing what it's written, and maybe listening and reading. But I say that at least 75% of the time is just listening without having a test in front of me. That's what prepares me for real life. Because there come a day, all these people, they're learning, they're going faster than me. And that's I learned through real running, when I was running 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 5 kilometers. Do not rush into things at the beginning. At the beginning, my understanding is you should learn enough for you not to forget. If you catch my drift. If you, at the beginning, everything is new. Okay? So, every day spend that amount of time on the language. It can be also listening 10 times the same thing. I know it's boring. That's why maybe you eat, you prepare food, you clean your apartment or your room, or you, I don't know. Other than reading, you cannot read and listen. You cannot read and listen at the same time. Your mind is not able to do that. You're not a computer. That's it. That is what I want to say. Because I see a lot of people sporting, I want to do the fastest way. There's no fucking way of speeding up some things. Okay? If you are on foot, there's no way you go from here to 10 kilometers distance in 20 minutes. There's no way. It's impossible. No person who promises you that is normal or in good faith. Either he's stupid or he's trying to, I don't know, has some interest. I learned a language in 20 days, spending 7 hours a day learning. Who fucking cares? Learning languages is not a circus thing. It's not a circus act, if you understand me. You need to be motivated. It took me like 4 months for me to take the courage and the determination to start a language that I knew it would be difficult, that is Russian. So I bought the book, I got the fucking recordings as for CDs, plus you can have also MP3. And I started the journey. I'm enjoying the journey. Despite I have my problems, some Russian who expect me to speak Russian. What the fuck? I don't expect a Russian person after 20 days or 3 days, even after 2 months, to speak. Don't have me speak. I'm not ready. And then when you speak, now it's like they get nervous because I don't speak properly 100%. Because depending on the language, Greek people, you speak like shit. Oh, very good, kala, kala. Italians the same. Oh, bravo, bravo. And the other people who are much more demanding. It's the character, the ethos of the people. People are not the same. Obviously, we have variation into what we are. Different cats behave differently. But you will never see a cat that behaves like a mouse. Okay? Or vice versa. Unless it's 1 in a million case. So, obviously Russians have some mentality. That doesn't mean that they all... I know that many Russians don't like Putin, and they say it overtly. If they were, I wouldn't say that people from North Korea would do that. That explains the difference from a real dictatorship or something different. But you need to find the right people. If you don't find the right person, don't have language exchange. And you should know how language exchange works. And I wouldn't say avoid 100% real situation, but many people are not able to manage a complete beginner or somebody who knows very little, and in spite of that have a productive language exchange. Having said that, it's a long video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.